Bip, 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 bip.
Meep, meep,
Meep, meep.
Go on Twitter to retweet your stuff.
Twitter. The big shitter.
The only place that sells sandwiches.
The only place that sells sandwiches is called the Big Shitter.
I guess so. when you do improv, you just gotta say things and then.
Yeah, I know. I'm really bad at that because
That's
I like to
true.
ask questions. I'm like, oh, really? No, I just gotta be like, yeah, that's where I went. That's what I meant. That's where we go.
There's a game called Commands Only.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can only speak when you command people to do things. And people have tons of trouble with it because they're like trying to respond to the commands or ask like, why do you want me to do this thing? But no, you have to respond with your own command.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being a streamer, right?
Yeah.
You have to provide the jokes.
Yeah. Gotta go with whatever your stream of consciousness is going.
Right.
No question asked. All Mrs. Dalloway. All Virginia Woolf. All Ulysses by James Joyce. Use the stream of consciousness.
When my wife and I were in Dublin, I was constantly making references to Ulysses. I'm like, oh boy, it's time to wander around Dublin, Ireland in a existential haze. Are you ready? And then we would occasionally find little signs that's like, welcome to like Mackenzie's barber shop, as mentioned in Ulysses.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh.
Ooh, make the soy face. Point to it.
Yeah, exactly.
I never read it, but I started reading a webcomic adaptation of it a long time ago. Never finished it. But I want to get more into Virginia Woolf, who does like a similar style.
Dude walks across Dublin, but
yeah,
it's a metaphor for the Odyssey.
Yeah,
right?
It's true.
Good shit.
Which we'll be reading. We'll be coming back soon, I hope.
Who's preventing the Odyssey from continuing to be read?
Me.
What? Well, why?
Just keep forgetting. Plus, isn't Ranma 1/2 more important? That's what I need to be reading right now.
I guess in terms of you personally.
Yeah, fuck everybody else. I don't care. It's on the record now.
Yep. We've decided to sacrifice the rest of society.
Yep, Reading Renegades canceled forever. Thanks.
In exchange for Ranma 1/2.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I'll get there one day. We'll remember.
Cool.
I thought for a long time Baljeet was gonna tell us, and then I was like, "Hey, Baljeet, when are we gonna do that?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. When are we gonna do that?" I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, when you get when you get that like position of authority, all of a sudden you quickly become the only person with authority.
No, it's just he's been busy with his
companies
kid
and companies
school
and
and
stuff
stuff.
that try to do like dual management or group management. It just doesn't work.
No, it works for us. Just he's been having other priorities, and so have I. So, and then some of our other group, well, Mauricio got a new job, so that also messes things up. So, I mean, it's nobody's fault.
No, it doesn't have to be anyone's fault. I'm just saying that even if you like assign roles to people to handle certain things, the role assigner ends up being the person with the most kind of sway among the roles.
Yeah. In other news, I napped for most of the day. Nothing going on at work. And I ended up going home for reasons I will divulge later. Or I ended up staying home.
You know, I had a day like that. Wait, today's Wednesday. I had a day like that, not yesterday, but Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh boy, I just feel like nothing is going to happen today, and I was right.
Yeah. The end of the semester for me, so it's just like that's what it is. I tried my best to get projects rolling at the beginning of the semester, but you know, the education system just doesn't make it work all the time. So we get as far as like the outlining stage sometimes with the videos and stuff that I want to do. But then, you know, you're relying on faculty to come up with a script to follow. And so, yeah. Role assignment. Again.
Yep.
But, you know, they're under the restrictions of the department and their priorities. So it's like, you know, this is purely supplemental what I'm trying to do. But at the same time, it's like, sometimes it's not like I'm not doing nothing, but it's like I'm doing all I can. And I just think we need like a little bit more marketing around campus. But that's neither here nor there. I had a good day. I napped. I skipped class.
Has been frustrating me, but I'm going to talk about it in very general terms. I'm part of two social groups. One of them is I just joined, and the other one I've become the role assigner and leader for, right? So I'm
does that have to do with Shakespeare?
No.
Okay.
In the group I just joined, I'm seeing all these things happen, and I'm like, as a role assigner in another group, I understand. I see what's happening. I know the path that we should be going on. I've walked these roads before, except I just joined. So I'm really trying not to be like forming a coup the second I step into a group, you know?
Yeah.
But then the other group that I've got, where I am the role assigner, I have this big problem because, like, exactly what you were just saying, we've got a thing coming up where we need to share an event as much as possible, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, we liked, working on the project, but we don't really want to share the event. And I'm like, so you're saying I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do all the marketing.
It's the divine comedy, right?
I walked in when I heard coon, and I thought I was in the wrong place.
Are you ready to
I do
perform a
have-
coup in the sake for
I
the
do.
sake of Jeff?
Yes, always. You gotta be ready to lay down your life for Jeff.
Yeah.
I do have to tell you, Con, you had a little cameo in my dream last night.
Oh no. This is not the first time I've heard this, but do go ahead.
I was sneaking through the co-ed locker rooms naked in order to find some clothes before the girls saw me.
I like where this is going so far.
When I discovered that my clothes were stashed in the cupboard underneath a very large boardroom style table, and there was somebody on top of the table measuring the table, and they measured one way all the way across, and then they measured the other way but not all the way across. I'm like, why didn't you finish your measurement? And they're like, oh, well, this is the table where Khan is going to face his, tribunal. And we don't need the table to be, like, the full length because the gun that we're going to shoot him with has a bit of length, too. So as long as it's within range, we don't have to... It doesn't have to count for the whole table.
Did you get to see
I'm-
this tribunal?
No, I made a deal with the devil and transformed into Hell Girl, the girl from hell, and then wandered off through the snow.
Good job.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say.
I left, but I wanted to tell you. Don't go into any boardrooms, all right?
Yeah, I'll be sure of that next time I go into the office.
All right. Welcome to the Digital Dojo, where we challenge, cooperate, and meditate on the Vigi games and stuff. Once more, we have come for Jeff. We're coming for Jeff. Yeah,
Uh,
three of us
to get at the same time.
together. Yeah. Jeff, jerk circle.
Yeah, it's like the big stew.
Is that what
Eh,
we're going
Yeah,
with?
I don't know. So my first bit of news is I won my tennis match yesterday, and it was supposed to be a
Congratulations.
really challenging opponent, and everything I was doing, I was putting together from my coaching, from being coached, and it worked out. Had some really cool shots, and I just couldn't believe it. But the thing was my opponent was A, younger than me, and B, which doesn't really have anything to do with it, but the attitude, right? The attitude matters. And so, like,
yeah.
this guy was coming at it with, like, a bunch of force, and I was just kind of calm and collected and watching the ball and receiving. And like, that helped me, like, so much.
You know the phrase, like, my opponent was younger than me, could be an advantage or disadvantage depending on how old you are,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Unless it's like chess.
I don't really
If it's
like
chess-
describing
if it's
things.
chess, then
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
younger is always a disadvantage.
Well, I don't like describing stuff as like, oh, younger or older as a disadvantage. I guess it's just more like, what is the experience level? How does this person read the situation?
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of my experience level, because I was ready to be receiving and giving feedback that way, it helped. Whereas I feel like this person didn't have that kind of training. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I think it'd be too much of an age gap for it to like make a lot of difference physically either.
Yeah. But I don't know. What do we think about, like, there's been a lot of comments about age gap lately. Have we been noticing that? There's been like a lot of threads and stuff about like age gap relationships. Thank you for the hydrate, Celine.
I'm perhaps a bit old school, but I'm still hardcore on the half your age plus 7 rule.
I didn't even know about that rule.
Yeah, so whoever's older, you divide their age in half and then add 7, and that's the minimum age that their partner should be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've always
basic-
thought about it should be more neck to neck.
Well, basically, like 14-year-olds should only really be dating each other.
Well,
Right.
yeah, like
Yeah.
But
no question.
no question. But if you take it like, all right, if you're like 30, right, you shouldn't be dating anyone younger than 22. Like, what are you even going to talk about with a person who's 21 when you're 30? You're like, oh, my back hurts, and they're like, wow, what's that?
They're still gonna be talking about like, oh, I got this assignment to do for class.
Yeah, you're like, what's that?
Those days are over.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've always been the kind of person to be like, you gotta keep it neck and neck. You know, maybe like I'm gonna say like 8-year difference at the max.
Yeah,
I don't know.
classic.
I guess where
Well,
I'm at right now, like obviously I work for university,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
but like if I were dating someone who like went to another university like for their bachelor's or master's, like I don't know. I'm an eternal learner, I guess. So it doesn't really matter to me like if they're in school or not. Like, you know, good for you, you're getting your education. But like at the same time it's like it really depends on like the specificity of the relationship, right? Like where they are independently in their life. Are they going to college and providing for themselves at the same time?
I think for me, it's not even about like the specifics of what you have or like have not accomplished. It's more like what kind of problems do you have? Because you have wildly different problems at 30 than you do at 21.
Mm-hmm.
And part of building a relationship, a long-term relationship, is working through problems together.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, what are you gonna do when you're like, oh man, I'm looking at buying a mortgage for a house.
So
and your
so what you're
partner's
saying
like,
is the stance,
damn, I gotta study for this test.
no matter the age gap necessarily, the stance has to be mutual, right? Level of
you have to,
dedication.
like, I think to form a trusting relationship, you have to find common ground
Yeah.
with which to walk upon, and especially common ground relating to your troubles, because life is just mostly troubles.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that makes me sad. Like at the end of the day, people can do what they want to. It doesn't
Troubles.
really bother me that much. But
Positive or negative.
Say hi to Celine in chat. Hi, Celine.
Hi, Celine in chat. I'm reading your commentary.
I've just made a revelation here. I've
Yeah.
got something important.
Oh, I'm an uncle, by the way, today.
Yeah, I forgot my
Yo,
question. Give me just a second.
Congratulations to your sibling.
Yeah, my sister gave birth.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah. That
Uh,
was my other big piece of news besides the tennis match.
nice. Yeah. Seriously, congratulations.
So,
I'm from a family of intellectuals and free spirits, so none of my siblings or I have children.
okay, you dang hippie. Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
My brother's probably the closest to maybe having a kid, but they're also like spending like several years RVing through the what do you call that area? Arizona style area, like
Grand
the-
Canyon?
Death Valley.
not quite as far west as Death Valley, like the Southwest, like
Mhm.
New Mexico,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
The American Southwest.
Yeah. The South.
New Mexico's awesome.
All the pictures they send are amazing, but it's also like, you know, trying to get my unk on, trying to be a cool uncle. At this point, I'm gonna have to like join an artist collective or something and hope that other people have kids that I can like
Yeah. Become a godfather.
teach how to
Yeah.
teach how to make paper footballs and shit.
Uh-huh.
Fortunately for me, I have a bunch of friends that have already had kids, so I get to be Uncle Con to those kids if I desire.
That's cute.
But and I can be as absentee as I would like to, since I'm not technically related.
Hmm.
I know. I had one friend I used to work with many years ago. He had already had he had 2 kids at the time, and it's been a little bit since we worked together. But his kids still ask, "Where's Uncle Con at?
Oh.
What's he up to?"
You get the grandma effect where every single interaction you have with a kid is incredible, and their parents are like, "Well, I have to like deal with the kid before I have my coffee," and every time you see them, you bring them like a can of, you know, gummy worms or whatever the fuck kids are eating these
A
days.
can of gummy worms.
There,
In a can.
It's really bizarre though, because one of them was a baby at the time we were working together, and I remember we had hangouts and we would have to watch the kids too, which was fun. And I specifically remember this one time where they had passed the baby off to me, so I had the baby like in one arm, and I had like a shot of tequila in the other arm.
Nice.
But it was kind of bizarre because, you know, I obviously left that job, and, you know, I run into them from time to time, and I saw them again, and this kid was like standing and like walking and talking, and I was like, man, last time I seen you, you were just a baby, and now you up here talking and walking all by yourself. You bad motherfucker.
Yeah, but of course the kid's like, I was never a baby. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's fun. I get to use those isms that the old folks in my family used to be like, man, you're getting so big. You're walking and talking now. You're just a little old thing. Last time I seen you.
Yeah.
I do. Speaking of hanging out with babies, I do have to tell one of my favorite college stories. which is that there was one summer in college where I and a couple of my other friends all decided to crash at like basically a one bedroom apartment, and we just split the rent like 6 or 7 ways to make it through the summer, right? But the funny thing was, well, first off, the couple that was already living in the one bedroom apartment had a baby. So there was a couple, a baby, and 5 of us hanging out in the living room for an entire summer. We got to know each other real well. But the funny thing was, there were no unique names among the group of the 8 of us. Like, there were 2 Isaacs, there were 2 Erics, there were 2 Natalies, there were 2 Melindas. It was fucking weird.
That's bizarre.
It was like the setup to a joke.
It does, right?
Feels like the setup to a Star Trek episode.
Yeah,
The
we each had
mirror
an
universe.
We each had an evil twin.
Were
I
you
pity-
the good Isaac
pity-
or the bad Isaac?
I pity the Natalie who had to share the name with the baby.
Doppelgangers.
Was I the good? What the fuck do you mean by was I the good Isaac? Are you?
Were you the good Isaac or the evil Isaac?
What do you think? You know me.
I don't know. You did run
I
a
don't know.
corporation for a time there.
Oh, that's true. I have no room to talk.
Did everybody have to fight their counterpart?
The way it worked out was kind of funny. Maybe this should be the punchline of the joke. By the end of the summer, nobody even slept in that house. We'd all found other places to sleep in order to give the other 7 people some space, but we all kind of did it at the same time, so the house was just empty. But we all chipped in on rent and groceries still.
Just supporting this family now.
Yeah, basically, it's. I better be a godfather after that.
Here we go.
Except the couple moved off to Japan, I think.
Damn.
So they're like traveling the world now. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. The kids thing is definitely like, it's whatever you as a couple situationship prefer, right? I mean, it really just comes down to that and where your priorities are at.
I mean, are we talking like 1.5 kids yourself? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that usually comes down to the lady. At least it does in my case.
Well,
Like-
I mean, are you in a relationship?
No, and that's why. Part of the reason.
That's
why.
a pretty big hurdle.
Yeah, it is. Because
I think you both have to want it. I don't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, right? Ideally.
As
ideally, yes, but if
Saitiel, are you in a relationship?
Haven't been for a while, no.
Okay, I guess I'm the married guy here.
Yeah, you're the married person.
even that kind of boggles my mind a little bit. Not the
What,
term
that
married, but marriage in general. Like,
So-
what I know now.
You both have to want it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right, when Lumi and I met, we clicked really quickly, and so we had a lot of interests in common, and our sense of humor lined up, and all this, good stuff that's like, oh, love at first sight. But it was kind of later on where we, after a lot of hanging out and talking and planning, we kind of discovered that not only was our problem-solving style very similar, but we had similar ideas of where we wanted to go in life. And I think that kind of sealed the deal. more than just this is a fun relationship, but hey, we could feasibly make a goal together
Yeah.
and achieve that goal. And at that point, it was pretty much like long-term relationship sealed. And I remember we were like, should we get married? And I'm like, as an accountant, I have to say, for tax purposes, it's very beneficial. And we had a good return the year we got married. So yes. But honestly, I use the term wife in marriage because that's the official term, but it's really more like we have teamed up to achieve these particular goals.
Yeah.
Right. And they're not all like, buy a house, have successful careers, stuff like that. Some of them are just like, be the mental support that the other person needs, right? And those aren't goals with definite endpoints. So, I don't know.
Stuff that perpetuates, and
Mm-hmm.
you can you're able to it's
Yeah,
just
now-
it comes down to communication. It's just like the goal is to like be good communicators to each other and care.
But not just communicators, but problem solvers and goal setters too.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I mean.
you have to accommodate your goals for another person, and if you can't do that, then
Yeah.
you really shouldn't be together long term. And that's where it leads back to our earlier conversation, because one of my life goals, one of my like ultimate things I wanted to do in life was to be a father, and Lumi can't have kids. So we don't get to pursue that goal. And that's kind of a big one for me, but I'm willing to trade that goal for the other stuff that we do, and I'm okay with it. But I still want to be an uncle.
Yeah.
I
There's
gotta
other ways to
join the
nurture it.
Artist collective.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, all of that to me just sounds like, you're managing your communication really, really well, and part of that is problem solving, part of that is setting up goals. And
Part of it is having a relationship Discord, by the way. You make a whole Discord server with dozens of channels just for your
yeah,
relationship.
if that works for you,
It's
yeah.
so worth it. I highly
not?
recommend it.
Oh,
Cool.
man. Yeah, I'm not one for relationships personally. Like I was getting at earlier, I'm surprised anybody gets together at all, considering how different people could be. Like it almost seems like there's always going to be incompatibility somewhere. Like
There
strong
are.
incompatibility somewhere. So I'm
There
just like, man,
are.
I'm not sure how people do it.
There are, but like anything else in life, like if you have a sandwich for lunch, you're giving up having a salad for lunch, right? Now, you might prefer the sandwich more than the salad, or you might prefer the salad more than the sandwich, but the fact is you have to choose one or the other. And I think that choosing someone in a long-term relationship is saying that I choose our goals and compatibilities as being more important in my life than our incompatibilities. And yeah, there's a part of me that is like, I've always truly wanted to be a father, like Celine said in chat, it's not about blood, but it's still a part of me, right? And I'm just, I'm probably not gonna meet that goal the way that I expected to meet it, right? But I'm working on so many other goals. I'm
Yeah.
being fulfilled, nourished in so many other ways, then I'm okay with putting that goal aside until, like, you know, I can be like a guidance counselor at a high school, or
Football
I don't know.
coach.
Football coach. Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing in Europe.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, like the person you are now and the person you are in a relationship, it's not the same person.
Yeah. But like
Yeah,
what you were saying earlier about like the sandwich salad thing, it's like those are both things that sustain and nourish you either way. You're just getting there, you know,
Exactly.
via different means.
Exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
I like making compromise. I enjoy the compromise. I like learning experiences, right? Going back to what I was saying earlier.
Right?
I like learning
Yeah,
experiences, so
absolutely.
it's just like, oh, I can't exactly do that one thing, but maybe because I'm not, you know, so dead set for something, I could learn something from this in another way. And like get something even more out of that experience. Who knows?
And that I think is one of like the low-key underrated parts of being in a long-term relationship, is just having someone with a different perspective than you that you can literally bounce everything off of.
Being able to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just one of the big things is having to live with somebody. Like,
That is something I think people are weird about, but I highly recommend, if you are thinking about getting serious in a relationship, move in together. It only has to be for a year, but you'll know by the end of the year.
We get relationship advice corner on the Isaac Anzu show.
I tried to do that early on.
do
in my
dating
streaming,
game?
So.
We do matchmaking. Do you want to like matchmake other VTubers?
ooh,
that's-
that's problems.
Yeah, that's a fool's errand, my friend.
Yeah, I'm
you
kidding.
don't. One of my college friends said the very wise thing is, you know, you never know how a couple acts when they're alone, and so it's hard to judge relationships.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in that same vein, you never know how anyone acts when they're alone. So why the fuck you setting them up?
True.
I don't know. I'm kind of weird about the whole, like, at this point, I'm not even sure if like a relationship is like necessary, because I don't know if y'all saw that thing that I retweeted where it was talking about it was breaking down what the concept of romance is,
Yeah.
and I'm the kind of person that kind of believes that our understanding of romance has been like tainted. I blame the 1950s for a lot of our
Oh, yeah.
cultural missteps.
Totally.
But like what is romance? I don't think it has to be exclusively for has to be sexual in nature or about like courtship. Like, I mean, even like if you have like friends and you say, man, we're gonna be friends for the rest of our lives. We're gonna grow up. We're gonna get old. We're gonna get fat together. We're gonna, like, one of us is gonna have kids, or maybe both of us gonna have kids. We're gonna raise them together. You know, isn't that technically a romantic idea? It's a romanticized idea.
Yeah.
It is. Well, and it's very, very similar to like applying to the social norms, right? And part of growing up, I think, is deciding which parts of the social norms actually work for you and which part of the social norms are bullshit and you're better off without them, you know.
Absolutely.
And yeah, romance is 100% the same way.
Yeah. Everyone's relationship is hyper specific to their relationship. And that's why, like, you know, my feeling, at least, you know, for me, is like all sexuality is queer sexuality in a certain capacity, right? All identity and gender is like queer in a certain capacity. It's like it's all that stuff is, you know, it's just yeah. Like in that thread you were talking about, Con, it's just like everyone wants to put people in little boxes.
Yeah.
We always talk about that shit.
Yeah, it's funny because it mentions something that I've always talked about when it comes to like historical writing, which is like there's a lot of like, especially these days, like what you would call like traditionalist people who are like, oh, we need to go back to the good old days where like men were manly and women were like, you know, taking care of the household and such like that. But that's a recent idea. That only goes back to the 1950s. Like you go back, you read any kind of historical text, you'll see like dudes will be like openly crying with each other. They'll be saying shit like, yes, my friend cried in my arms and I like gently wiped his tears away and kissed his forehead. Like,
oh,
people were saying that shit back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I read just the other day that apparently before like the 1950s, the word gender only had a grammatical meaning. Like people just used sex to refer to people's identity, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what that thread was getting at, because I had that inkling, but it was nice to see somebody who was more read about it confirm it. But like back in the 1950s, they had started ascribing like heterosexual norms to relationships, whereas before that, you know, people didn't really think about it, which meant like people could be a little bit more open with their friends, which meant like two men could like share a bed together and there would be no implications, or like two women could write letters to one another about how much they loved each other and stuff like that, and nobody would think any different because it wasn't looked at in the same way. And then like the 1950s came around and everybody got all fucking insecure and had to ascribe certain things to certain actions, and we all suffered for it.
Now, here's the real question, because I have an answer for both of you actually. Here's the real question is, how do you express romance to your friends? How would you? No, well, not just that. And like I said, I have an answer actually for both of you. Already ready to go.
Yeah.
And
I mean, in the way that we interact together, right?
Yeah, like Saitiel, if I came to you and said, "Hey, just for you, I read all of Ron the One Half. You want to talk about it?" Isn't that a little romantic?
Yeah, that's cool. It's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get together. Yeah, it's like it's sharing. It's sharing knowledge. It's sharing experiences. It's
it's not just
sharing emotions.
It's not just fucking flowers and jewelry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's reserved for specifically courtship. You know, I don't think romance always has to be about courtship. Maybe like, you know, what's that old adage? Every instance of courtship is romantic, but not every instance of romance is courtship.
Yeah.
Every kiss begins with K.
That works.
All right. Should we get the ball rolling? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in your lives?
Well, yesterday was vet day.
Yeah.
How's the boy?
Oh, he's doing well. They said he's an object of health. You know, it was it's always real stressful for me.
Yeah.
And him.
Yeah.
Like I have to trick him to get him to his carrier. Like there's no other way to do it. He's not a cat that likes to be picked up. And luckily for me, I was able to get him in there. But it hurts my soul having to trick my boy.
What's your kitty cat's name?
Patton, like the general.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it's because he looks like him.
Took Moxie to the vet.
Funny.
Not a cat, dog, but we call her a cat because she's cat size. Actually, we call her a goat because she likes to, you know, be on top of the alpine that is the couch and
Greatest
drapes
of all
around
time.
it. Yeah, and like she'll, like, when we're eating, she'll just like extend a bridge out from the couch to my mom's knee and just like look at her dead in the eyes. So she's a goat, and but yeah, we were thinking that like she had a bad allergic reaction to the shampoo at the groomers, because kept doing like that reverse sneeze kind of thing. And we got her on antibiotics and a allergy medication, and it's working good. She's doing okay.
Good. Always glad to hear when pets are doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell you that Blue he's fine, but he's one of those cats that bonds over feeding time,
Yeah.
right? And my wife has been letting him take little sips from her water bottle, and she's also been like getting real stomach sick often recently. And I'm like, hey, you think those are related?
Yeah, you might not want to do that. You know, toxoplasmosis.
Yeah, so Blue doesn't get water bottle time anymore, and he has been extremely grumpy about it.
Yeah.
Gotta
But
get a
that
water
just
bottle
means
just
that-
for him.
We already have a fucking cup just for him that looks exactly like our cups, right? He wouldn't
So, like,
drink water
when
out of a
you're-
water bowl. We had to give him a cup that looked like our
When
cup, so he
you
felt
guys
like
are
he
sitting
had his
down
own
for your
cup.
morning coffee, get the cup for Blue, and you just share a bit. You just share out of that cup, just for Blue.
How many water bottles? You're probably right. We just need to get a cat water bottle.
Yeah.
Because now we use the automatic feeder as well, so it's really just the water that he can like bond with us over. So
Where you talk about your plans for the day. You all sit down for coffee.
Yeah. Ask him if he's doing his TPS reports.
Mm-hmm.
you submitted your expense files.
Need to start pulling your weight around here, Blue.
Yeah,
What's your?
You don't pay rent
what's your
around here.
strategy?
What's your FICO score looking like?
We're gonna rescind that loan we gave you.
All right. Sounds like it's another segment for the Isaac Anzu show.
God, you're right. I gotta keep that list open that I keep writing things on.
I would like
Yeah.
a little dating game. That would be kind of fun, though.
like a dating game, like a service where you can get your cat's finances in order.
It's funny as fuck.
I
Oh, man.
think it'd be fun to
financial
do just a pseudo dating game. And I mean, who the hell knows? Like, it's just a bonding experience. Who knows what will come out of it? But that'd be kind of fun to just get people together and interact and play games together and see how they hit it off. Doesn't even have to be like romantic.
Well, so
Like we've been talking
there's a
about.
game. There's a game. It's in one of the Jackbox game packs. It's
Mhm.
called Monster Seeking Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Played that one.
Yeah, it's honest. Like, okay, I don't know if you've noticed this about me, but essentially, like, flirting with people is my normal style of conversation.
Yeah. Same.
So I love Monster Seeking Monster because it's just like, okay, let's just, show interest in people and compliment them,
Mhm.
but competitively. And,
It's great.
but the problem is it's an awful game to stream because all of the flirting happens on your phone
Mm.
or on your like private device.
Yeah.
So you don't really get to see the juicy part, right?
Gotta find an alternative.
Yeah, I feel like if you were playing with viewers, then you would lose a little bit of a dimension too, because
Yeah.
The way
just seeing that one person's input.
the way it's designed as a party game is incredible. The way it's designed as a thing for people to watch other people doing is not what they were going for, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not there.
Yeah, so you need
Yeah.
like a more traditional dating game setup, but with a twist.
Monster Prom.
Monster Prom's good, yeah. But
I fucking love Monster Prom.
that's not what I mean.
I've tried to play it on stream with people so many times.
It was pretty good fun.
I'm talking about who's suitor number 3, you know, I don't know.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
The actual like old school dating game
Yes,
from
yes.
Old school matchmaker shit from like the 70s.
Yeah.
Gotta dig that.
there's you can play that as an improv game if you get suggestions from the audience of what the suitors should act like.
Yeah, yeah. Alright.
I had an idea.
Anyways. Y'all want to connect and get into this? Emu?
I've had Parsec open for like the past hour and it does
Yeah,
not
I've seen
seem
that.
to be like doing anything.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
should I just share the feed on Discord then?
Let me try
can
something
connect.
because I'm
Because I see you on Parsec and I see Con.
Yeah, I hit connect.
okay. Let me try like force quitting Parsec and there we fucking go. Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I'm here.
because it's
One of the things I
Isaac's
hate about
turn.
modern computer design is that when you hit the close button, it doesn't actually close the shit. It just puts it into the background.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can fix that. Somehow.